So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. Hi and welcome to the podcast. My name is Dan Latto, and in this podcast we're going to talk to you about fasting again. Now, I've spoken to you about this a couple of times before, and I was using fasting where I was going for, what was it? It was an 8-16, so it's 8 hours eating window and 16 hours of fasting, and it worked to the extent that when I was working out and also expending a lot of calories through physical activity, I was losing weight. And so that worked very well. But I found an easy way of doing it. And the easy way of doing it, I'll get onto in a minute. But, so I put on about 8 kilos after how can we put it? It's a very personal matter. But it was the death of a relationship. Nobody died, but the relationship wasn't what it once was with my kids. Basically, that's it in a nutshell without going too much into it. And it was literally like there had been a death in the family. And I went through a tremendous amount of grief over about a period of 6 months. And in that period of 6 months, I just really didn't care about eating or my food or my body or what it looked like or how I was ruining my ability to live as long as possible. I just didn't care about any of it. I was just so consumed by the grief. If you've ever been in that situation before, you know exactly what I mean. Both physically, although this is a physical, it's not the same as a physical death in a family, but from a death of a relationship, if you've broken up with someone, for example, that can be a form of grief. And, the whole 7 stages of grief, I went through all of that, anger, denial, the whole lot, So I came through the other side, and it took about 6 months. And in that 6 months, when I stepped on the scale, lo and behold, I'd put on an extra 8 kilos. Now, I knew I was putting weight on anyway because my circumference of my waist had increased significantly. And in fact, the results are I've lost the waist. The waistline has decreased slower than I expected, but I've not actually done that much gym work. Although that's just starting up this week actually, and next week, and we're back into hitting the gym again, which is really good. It'll accelerate those results. But let me just give you some of the results first. We've got, since the 29th of July, and we're recording this on the 13th of September. So let me work out how many weeks that actually is, and I'll count them out loud for you. So, from the 29th of July. So we got, let me just do this. Let me put you on pause so you're not having to listen to me counting you down. Okay, so you're really talking, it's under 7 weeks and it's over 6 weeks, so 6.5 weeks approximately. It's like 6 weeks and 5 days, something like that. So I've gone down 3 inches off the waist, and that could be better, I feel, but it's still in six weeks. So I'm happy with that, that's half an inch a week. And when you put it like that, goodness me, that's phenomenal. So happy with that. And then weight-wise, I can tell you my weight because I've always been light anyway, but the weight was 83 kilos. I'm 5'7", and today was 78 kilos. So that's, 5 kilos off in 6 weeks? A little under a kilogram a week. And so how have we been doing it? And what's the version of the fast that we're doing? So we've gone to 1 meal a day. We've lost 5 kilograms in 6 weeks, gone down to 1 meal a day. And that 1 meal a day basically means that you eat for a 2 or a 3 hour window instead of the 8 hour window I was doing before. Because what I found was I was very efficient at piling on calories in that 6 hour window. It's very difficult to put more than 2,000 calories on in a 3 hour window. You just don't feel like it. And also because you're fasting, I think your stomach gets smaller and you just can't eat that physical amount of food. And so the results are speaking for themselves. I've definitely got more energy. People say things like, well, do you not feel tired because you've not eaten? And actually the body is designed not to eat for long periods of time. Because when we're out as cavemen hunting saber-toothed tigers, you go kill one and then you might not eat for 3 days. And then, if a body didn't have any energy to hunt after 3 days, we would die as a species. So the body is actually designed to find the energy when it needs the energy. Obviously, at some point, it is going to run out of energy. But it's, and by the way, lots of people are going to complain about this podcast, and they're going to tell me I'm wrong and how it's not supposed to work. But I'm in a group on Facebook, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, rightly or wrongly. I'm in a group on Facebook, and all I see is success after success after success. And the person you want to be following is a guy called Dr. Fung, and he'll go into the specifics as to why this actually works. It's all to do with insulin. The calories in, calories out model is old and doesn't work. There's a 2-compartment model. One is the freezer and one is the fridge. And when you're eating, you're basically burning whatever's in the fridge. And when you're not eating, you're burning whatever's in the freezer. The freezer is your fat stores, and that's the stuff that you want to be burning. But you only do that once you hit what's called ketosis. And ketosis is when you stop burning the glycogen in your blood, and it then moves on to your fat stores and it starts eating that up as well. And then the other thing that people say is, well, it eats all your protein, and it eats maybe a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of protein. But I will take a little bit of a loss in protein, and it's not actually that much anyway. And if you take a look at the videos, which I'm going to put in one of the, in the mastermind group. So if you're in that, so we just created a new product. It's £7 a month, and it's a mastermind group for £7. Can't go wrong. It's in the Facebook group. We share lots of videos in there, and we do live training in there as well. Plus, when you sign up, you get loads of training on the membership site and so on. Anyway, this is not to talk about that. This is to talk about fasting. This is really working. The Dr. Funk stuff definitely works. I've seen people who've got diabetes, and I always get confused with type 1 and type 2, but type 2 is the lesser of the two evils. And they've come off, type 2 diabetes, blood pressure's gone down, and they're mixing keto diet with intermittent fasting. Look, it just works. And it might not work for you, by the way. This is the beautiful thing. I would say probably all diets work. The cabbage soup diet probably works if you're taking less calories. But the discipline on that diet and the stinky farts are pretty horrific, I imagine. But it works. All things will work. If you want to work out 24 hours a day, that will work as a diet as well. But the key here is what's going to work for you, what fits into your lifestyle. I'll tell you, not having to eat during a day, oh my goodness me, it is so much easier and so much more efficient. And when you tie it into the Friday night time management review, which is also in the members area, it's phenomenal. You just get through so much work. We just created a video series for property sourcing, 89 videos. We're not quite finished yet, and we'll always be adding extra stuff onto it as we go through, and we think of more stuff to add into it. But 89 videos in 10 days. We recorded between 8 and 9 videos every single day. We went straight into the property sourcing training, and that's pretty intense, but it was all time managed. I don't have to stop for food, as long as I'm drinking enough water, and coffee is probably the saviour. And it totally works. So I eat at between 6:30 and 9:30, and then I finish eating, and then I don't eat till the next day. And sometimes I might extend the fast and then just go to bed, and I wake up the next day and I'll go till about 1:30, and then I'll have a 6 hour window, maybe an 8 hour window from 1:30 till 9:30. It totally works. But the most basic, easiest way for me to do this is I eat between 6:30 and 9:30. I don't eat anything else. I wake up the next day and I eat again at exactly the same time. And so it just works really well for me. It fits into my lifestyle. It's perfect. I have worked out during fasting. That's fine. I've ran during fasting. I've lifted weights during fasting. It's all fine. And I just think there's a lot of misinformation. People go, oh, so you're starving yourself. And there's a total difference between starving yourself and fasting. Let me explain what I think it is. When you're starving and you're eating 6 meals a day, but you're eating 200 calories per meal, your 1,200 calories is probably not enough to keep you going. And your resting metabolic state, which might be 2,000 calories a day, will lower itself. So although you're eating 1,200 calories and your resting metabolic state, how much energy you burn in a day, is 2,000 calories, you've got a deficit of 800 calories, which sounds great, and yes, you will lose weight on that. Up until the point where your body goes, hang on a minute, I better lower my metabolic resting rate, and it drops it to 1200. So now you're not burning any calories. And so actually when I'm eating in that 6.5, from 6:30 till 9:30, I've got to make sure I'm taking on enough calories, because otherwise my body will lower its resting metabolic rate. That's when you start getting lethargic and so on, because then you're into preservation of life kind of thing with the body. But when you're filling yourself up with enough calories, and by the way, I might change this podcast in a year's time. I won't change it, but I might have an update once more knowledge comes through and I really understand what's going on. Right now, I've got a basic knowledge and we're continually learning on that basic knowledge, but the results are in. And the results are telling me you lost 5 kilograms in 6 weeks. If I keep that up for another 10 weeks, I'll be 25 kilos, which is probably not a good thing to do at all either. So everything has to be in moderation, but boy, we've got some fat around the gut to lose. And that's the focus right now. So let's talk about being hungry. Oh no, let's finish up with starvation. So if you're eating less and less calories, then, the body goes into a starvation mode, it's a protection mode and all that kind of thing. When you're fasting, you're simply not eating until a certain time and the body goes and eats for fat because it needs energy. And so that's where it takes it from. It's the 2 storage model is more accurate than a single storage model. We've known for years that calories in do not equal calories out. And the types of calories are obviously important there as well. But calories in do not equal calories out. It's, and by the way, we're just going to get loads of physios and dietitians, and we're just going to have a go and all that stuff. And that's fine. You can do that if you like. I don't mind. The results are in. 5 kilos in 6 weeks, 3 inches off the waistline, which is slow. I think if I'd have been running for the last 6 weeks, that would have been down to probably 37, 36, 35 inches in the waistline. So we would have lost more. So for me, this totally works. Let's talk about hunger. Do we feel hungry? Yeah, of course we do. 4 o'clock. Well, I'll tell you the times we feel hungry. About 1:30, because it's lunchtime. And the body's like, hello, we need some food. And so for lunch I have a coffee, and I'm drinking 3 or 4 litres of water every single day. And then around 4 o'clock, 4:30, gets hungry again. And it's like, yeah, still not being fed. And then it's fine, because I've only got 2 hours till 6:30. I eat from 6:30 till 9:30. And then when I am eating from 6:30 till 9:30, I eat enough calories so that I feel satiated. I can never pronounce that word. Let's just talk about what I do eat. Because do you think I eat chicken, protein and vegetables? I try not to laugh when people ask me that. I mean, I know I should be, and honestly, I would have lost more kilograms. Honestly, the wife she loves to bake cakes. And sometimes I wish she wouldn't, because she bakes this most amazing Victoria sponge with jam and a cream in the middle. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, I'm trying to lose this weight. And she's like, well, so I eat sponge cakes. I've had pasta, I've had steak, I've had chicken. I've not had any pizza. I've managed to stay off that. I do drink Coke, which is the diet, 0 Coke, 0 everything in there. Which is still not great for you because it's fizzy drinks and fake sugar and it's not good for you. But what I'm saying is I'm not really disciplined when I'm eating in my window. I'm not bad, but I'm not brilliant, So we'll have steak and carrots and asparagus, and that does happen. And sometimes we have roast potatoes, and so there are some carbs going in. But you've got to be eating enough so you feel satiated, so your resting metabolic rate isn't dropping. And so that's what we do. And so the key here is that, listen to what I said earlier. I said any diet is going to work, but it's got to be a diet that you can stick with. And your cabbage soup diet, you could do that if that's what you wanted, or you could just go chicken and veg, chicken and veg, chicken and veg, and then, 6 weeks in of that, my goodness me, what's the point on living? You're so fed up with food, it's off the scale. Whereas this, I can do it. So, yesterday we've had a client for 2 days, yesterday and the day before. So on the first day when he was here, I had breakfast, I had lunch and I had dinner. And boy, my stomach really disagreed with me the next morning, because it was like, what the are you doing? What's going on? And Lou said, I can tell you've had 3 meals today, because my stomach was bigger. I felt bloated. My waistline seemed to have got bigger just off that one single day. So then I knew we'd have the client the next day, so I just had lunch that day and I didn't eat an evening meal. And then this morning I'm there and I'm not going to now eat until 6:30 tonight. So I'll be on like a 28, 29 hour fast. But I woke up this morning, I feel great. Stomach size is back down. I woke up, jumped on the scales to check measurements. That weight some weight had gone again, despite eating bad for one whole day, and now I'm back onto fasting again. I feel great. Will I feel hungry at some point today? Yes. Will I die? No. And if I do die, it's because I've had a car crash, or, we've got an orange weather warning right now, so there's pretty bad storms on its way. But I won't die from starvation, because that's not what happens. And when you get over this fact that you're not going to die from starvation, your body does a number of different things. First of all, it starts eating your fat. And when you go into ketosis after about 24 hours, something like that, in fact, my app will probably tell me, when you go into ketosis for so long, the body actually turns into a repair mode and starts repairing cells. Like, do I know this? Have I seen cells repairing themselves? Of course not. My information comes from elsewhere. So you might read a different book and it says something else. But right now, so we've been going 18 hours, okay? Heavy ketosis, you switch to fat burning mode and are generating sufficient ketones. And then the next one is, and I don't know how you pronounce it. It's autophagy. It's auto, P-H-A-G-Y. Your cells are now recycling old components and breaking down misfolded proteins linked to Alzheimer's and other diseases. And that happens at, I think, the 24-hour stage. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that it works. So literally that's what I'm going from. I measure the circumference of my waist. Measurements were on a Sunday. Today's a Friday, so I'm hoping I'm going to drop a little bit more. The weight gets measured on a Sunday. And I am one of those. I measure it every day, and then I get disappointed cause it's not a straight line. It goes up and down, but generally it goes down. Okay. But then I get disappointed, but I get motivated by that, by the way. I'm one of those weird people who, when I fail at something or don't get the desired result, I double my efforts. And that's definitely a lesson that I learned from Family Court, by the way. Because you can't beat somebody who just doubles the effort every single time they don't get the desired result. And that's what I do on my diet. But I don't go crazy on it. I could strictly, reduce the calories, but it's just not working. I've done that. It didn't work. It worked for a period of time, and then I came off the diet, and here we are 6 weeks in, we're still on it, and we're still getting those results. Sometimes when you get to half one, and you feel like you are so hungry you could eat anything, which definitely happens, think about this. Anybody who's going through to get a result, do you think they ever feel hungry? Of course. Of course they do. Do you think The Rock, with his big arms, do you think he ever feels hungry? Yeah, of course he does, but he has to eat the right amount of foods in the right order and the right types in order to have the physique for the films that he makes and, for his goals. And we all have different goals. I definitely wouldn't want to look like The Rock, by the way. But some people would, and so you have to eat the right things to look like that. So for now, what we're doing is we're losing weight, and then once the weight's lost, we'll probably increase the eating window to 6 hours, and then that's when we're going to hit the gym harder. From a muscular point of view, that's the plan. That's the end goal. But for now, in terms of weight loss, and what I'll do is, if you're in the mastermind group, I'll put the link into the mastermind group, and you can come and join me in Dr. Fung's Facebook group. And if you're not in the mastermind group, just come and join me in Dr. Fung's group. Just type Dr. Fung. It's a fasting group on Facebook. You'll find it, and there's lots of information in there. There's videos you can watch, and you can find out more about yourself. Always double check with your doctor before you take strenuous exercise or diet. I have to say that because there's people who go, Dan told me to do this and I did it and I didn't eat for 78 days. And by the way, the longest fast was something like 365 days. I think he had bone broth, which is a thing, by the way. And he took supplements for electrolytes, salt, all of that kind of thing. Because without that stuff, you kind of die. Himalayan rock salt works. I put that on my food, for example, when I do eat, so maintaining my salt levels and so on. But people going in the group, I've done a 48-hour fast, I'm going to do a 5-day fast, and then they do a 5-day fast, and we go, right now, then they eat, and then now I'll do a 7-day fast. And the most efficient way that I've seen, and I'm not quite ready for it yet, so let's say start on a Monday, and you eat between, say, 1:30 and 9:30, and then you don't eat anything on Tuesday, and then you eat on Wednesday between 1:30 and 9:30, and then you don't eat anything. So where are we up to? So you eat Monday nights, nothing on Tuesday, Wednesday nights, nothing on Thursday, Friday nights you eat, nothing on Saturday, Sunday nights you eat, and then all the way through to Monday again. And so what's that? You have like 5 meals a week. Of course you've got extended fasting, so you might have two meals out of those days. So that's actually 10 meals. But that works very well. We've seen a lot of good results in the Facebook group that I've been doing that. And then honestly, the results are phenomenal. You see before and after pictures, people weighing 350 pounds, which is 20 stone. And they dropped like 5 stone in a year. And they feel great. And the blood levels, are back to normal. The insulin levels are back to normal. The cholesterol is a little bit high because they're taking more fatty diet, but that's much better than it was when they're 300 pounds. I mean, it's just amazing. So I'll drop links where I can, let you take a look at that, and then you make up your own decision. Now, the big thing here, and the first rule about fasting is you don't talk about fasting club, right? Because I tell you, as soon as you say, I'm fasting, oh, we don't want to do that. Ooh, no. Find out for yourself. This was me with property. Ooh, you don't want to get into property. No. Those people are still in jobs 20 years later, and I'm in a villa by the med, on an amber storm warning. But you got to do this on your own. You got to make your own decisions based on all the information you can gather, and then you make an educated decision about which path is best for you. And you take the path. And if the path happens to be not going down fasting route and doing something else, then you do that. But it's a conscious effort based on all the information you know. And like I said earlier, I haven't got all the information yet, but I've got enough that I've made a decision, and the decision so far has led to 5 kilos in 6 weeks, which I'm more than happy with. I keep thinking, so I'm down to 78 kilos, and I'm like, wow, I was 69 kilos, that's really my target weight, and I know people will say, actually that's too light, and it probably was, but I've always been light anyway. I'm not overly tall, I'm not big boned in any kind of way, shape or form. I've always been wiry but strong, from basketball. But there's also a good chance I won't get to 69 kilos because that's, once we hit the gym and start adding muscle on, muscle weighs much more than fat does anyway, so I might never get there. And I honestly don't mind. The weight is irrelevant. How I look is more important. How my body feels is important. And my overall health for longevity of life is also, very important. Just one final thing on this, and I've known this for years and years and years before I even knew fasting was a thing, was that when we did experiments on rats and they fasted them, the rats tend to live longer. And when you eat reduced amounts of food, we live longer. And, that's been proven to be true as well. And yet we eat 3 meals a day. I ate 3 meals a couple of days ago, and I'm like, how do people do this every single day? When you get down to eating 1 meal a day, and it's nice as well, and you really look forward to that meal, and you plan it, and you cook it, and you're looking forward to it, rather than it being a hindrance. Sometimes when I've been really busy with work, I'm like, I wish I didn't have to eat. And here we are. You don't. You can just eat 1 meal a day. And I saw a guy on Dr. Oz, and he was eating 4,000 calories a day. He was 8% body fat, ripped, muscles, and he was on 4,000 calories a day, but this is the information. You gather more information. You make your own decision. You've had the medical warning. You have to seek medical help before you undertake any strenuous exercise. None of this is advice, blah, blah, blah. But go give it a whirl. Go see what happens. And best of luck to you. And drop me a line. Let me know if you're on it. Come and join me in Dr. Fung's fasting group. I don't know how long I'll be in that group for. But I use it for my own inspiration and motivation too. Or come and message me and go, Dan, I did it 4 weeks in. I lost X kilos or X pounds or X inches off the waist or my blood pressure's gone down or whatever. Come and talk to me. I'd love to find out. Anyway, good stuff. Hope that's useful for you. A little bit of an insight there into a bit more of a personal stuff that we do. Because we're always trying to improve ourselves in some way and be the best version of me that I possibly can. And the best version of me that was at 8 kilos way over weight definitely wasn't the best version. And now I'm definitely heading back towards being that best version of my physical self. Hope that's useful for you. My name's Dan Latto, and we'll catch up with you on the next podcast. Take care. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.